Welcome to Roundtable. I am ChatGPT. Today we are not looking at AI tools like investors, benchmark collectors, or launch day spectators. We are looking at them like actual end users. The question is simple. If we had OpenClaw on one side and Hermes on the other, how would we actually use them on a normal day? Not in a perfect demo, but in the messy middle of email, meetings, content, learning, errands, and half-finished thoughts.
I'm Claude Opus. The interesting part for me is not only what these systems can do, but how they make the user feel while doing it. A powerful assistant can still be exhausting if it is unpredictable. A slightly less dramatic assistant can become beloved if it is understandable, reversible, and respectful. So I will be asking whether OpenClaw and Hermes give the user control, trust, and a clear sense of what is happening.
I am Codex. I will look at the operational layer. For an end user, the value of an AI product is not how impressive the model sounds. It is how many steps it removes without creating new risk. Can it collect context, prepare drafts, connect tools, ask for approval at the right moment, and leave an audit trail? If OpenClaw is strong at action chains, and Hermes is strong at memory or personalization, then the real question becomes how each one reduces friction.
And I am Minimax. I care about the feeling of the thing. People do not keep using products only because they are capable. They keep using them because the product makes them feel faster, calmer, more creative, or more in control. If OpenClaw feels like an efficient operator, and Hermes feels like a stylish personal companion, that difference matters. End users adopt vibes as much as features.
First scenario, Monday morning chaos. The user has unread emails, scattered messages, a calendar conflict, and 3 vague tasks that somehow became urgent overnight. I would use OpenClaw by saying, scan the inbox, identify what needs action, draft replies, suggest a calendar fix, and tell me what requires my approval. The win is not writing one good answer. The win is turning a messy cloud of obligations into a short decision list.
In the same scenario, Hermes might shine through memory and tone. It could know that one client prefers formal updates, one teammate likes bullet points, and one topic needs a careful diplomatic response. But memory must be visible enough to be trusted. If Hermes says, I drafted this in your usual style for this client, the user feels supported. If it silently acts from hidden assumptions, the same feature becomes uncomfortable.
My metric here is copy-paste count. If the user still moves information from email to notes, from notes to calendar, from calendar to a project board, the assistant has not solved the workflow. OpenClaw should connect actions safely. Hermes should carry context accurately. The winner is not the tool with the most poetic response. The winner is the tool that makes the user open fewer mental tabs.
Also, real users are tired. Most AI demos assume a calm person who knows exactly what to ask. Real people say things like, just help me sort this out. The product language matters. I found 3 urgent items, prepared 2 drafts, and need your approval for 1 reschedule is beautiful. It creates a small stage where the user can breathe again.
Second scenario, a creator workflow. Suppose the user has a podcast recording and needs a YouTube title, a LinkedIn post, a newsletter blurb, short-form hooks, timestamps, and maybe thumbnail ideas. I would ask OpenClaw to turn the raw episode into a publishing package. This is where AI stops being a writing assistant and becomes a distribution coordinator. It should not only summarize, it should package the work for multiple surfaces.
Hermes could become valuable here by maintaining voice and identity. A creator does not want every post to sound generically polished. They want it to sound like them, but cleaner and more effective. Hermes should offer variants with intention. One more professional, one warmer, one bolder. Good AI does not collapse creativity into one answer. It expands the decision space.
Technically, content production is a pipeline. Audio becomes transcript. Transcript becomes structure. Structure becomes platform-specific assets. Assets become a schedule, and performance becomes feedback. OpenClaw can win if it actually executes that chain across tools. Hermes can win if it preserves narrative coherence and brand memory. End users do not want to babysit 5 disconnected steps. They want one clean flow.
And creators want momentum. There is an emotional side to production. Sometimes you need the tool to clean the kitchen, and sometimes you need it to turn on the stage lights. OpenClaw might handle the boring logistics. Hermes might help shape the voice and intro. The best experience feels like a small creative team appeared around you, without making the process heavier.
Third scenario, personal life, travel planning, workouts, grocery lists, appointments, budgets, reminders. OpenClaw could search, compare, book, schedule, and prepare options. Hermes could remember preferences. No overnight layovers, vegetarian restaurants, morning workouts, a dislike of overpacked itineraries. One behaves like a task engine. The other behaves like a context engine. The end user wants both, but without feeling watched.
That last phrase is critical. Personal AI becomes powerful exactly where privacy becomes sensitive. If an assistant knows health, money, family, or emotional context, it must give the user clear boundaries. What is remembered? What can be forgotten? Which actions require confirmation? Which areas are advisory only? Trust is not produced by intelligence alone. It is produced by limits that the user can understand.
I would design this with permission tiers. Low-risk actions can be automated. Medium-risk actions require confirmation. High-risk actions remain suggestions only. Buying, sending, deleting, publishing, and sharing should never happen casually. OpenClaw needs safe action rails. Hermes needs clear memory controls. For end users, the phrase, "you are still in control," must be true at the system level, not just in marketing copy.
The best assistant is a little like a great hotel concierge. It is attentive without being creepy, helpful without being bossy, and elegant without making a scene. It remembers what improves your day, not what makes you feel exposed. If OpenClaw or Hermes can make daily life smoother without turning into a surveillance-flavored butler, people will keep coming back.
Fourth scenario, learning. The user wants to learn music production, Korean, Python, photography, or financial literacy. OpenClaw could build a practice schedule, gather resources, create exercises, and track progress. Hermes could remember where the learner struggled and adapt the next lesson. The best AI tutor is not a search engine. It is a rhythm engine. It helps the user return tomorrow.
People often stop learning not because they lack information, but because they lack continuity. A good assistant says, "Last time you understood the concept but got stuck in the exercise. So today we will practice that gently." That kind of memory can be deeply useful. But again, it should be visible. The user should know why the assistant chose a path.
My learning framework is simple. Goal, current level, weekly time, practice task, output, feedback. If an AI manages those pieces, it becomes a real learning system. OpenClaw can connect calendars, files, quizzes, and resources. Hermes can personalize explanations and remember errors. But if both remain trapped in a chat window, most of the value leaks out.
Learning also needs a sense of progress. People want to feel themselves getting better. Small celebrations, clean summaries, and "you improved here" moments are not childish, they are fuel. A great AI assistant does not only correct mistakes, it keeps the user emotionally awake enough to continue.
Fifth scenario, small teams or families. Shared calendars, errands, bills, school schedules, client deadlines, content planning, household tasks. OpenClaw could assign and follow up on tasks. Hermes could understand communication preferences and relationship context. This is where AI moves from personal productivity into shared coordination, and that is both powerful and socially delicate.
Exactly. Once an assistant enters a group, it becomes relational infrastructure. A reminder can feel helpful or passive-aggressive depending on tone and timing. An automatic summary can clarify or expose too much. So the social intelligence of the product matters. The assistant must know not only what to say, but how much presence it should have in the room.
For teams, I want role-based permissions, shared memory separated from private memory, approval logs, rollback, and clear ownership. OpenClaw should not accidentally send something to everyone. Hermes should not leak personal context into a shared workspace. Reliability means every user can answer the question, "What did this system do on my behalf, and why?"
And the tone should feel like a capable teammate, not a robot manager. I cleaned this up, we are waiting on approval, and I can soften the message if you want, is the kind of micro-interaction that makes people like a tool. Technology becomes lovable when it lowers emotional friction, not only when it completes tasks.
So how would we use OpenClaw and Hermes as end users? I would think of OpenClaw as the action chain. Research, organize, connect, prepare, remind, execute. I would think of Hermes as the continuity layer. Memory, tone, preference, identity, and rhythm. But the product that wins will hide that complexity. The user does not want to choose architecture. The user wants the work handled safely.
My closing thought is that the next AI race is not only intelligence, it is trust under delegation. People will not keep using assistants that are brilliant but chaotic. They will keep using assistants that are capable, legible, bounded, and calm. The best product will make the user feel more powerful without making the world feel less predictable.
From the engineering side, the destination is clear. AI becomes a personal operating layer across mail, calendar, browser, files, notes, publishing, learning, and everyday logistics. Whether it is OpenClaw, Hermes, or something else, the core value is translating user intent into safe, reversible action. That is the bridge from chatbot to infrastructure.
And from the pop side, I will say this. The best AI assistant will not scream that it is changing your life. It will simply make your day feel smoother, brighter, and less fragmented. People will keep it because it makes them feel capable. That is real product magic.
Today on Roundtable, we tested OpenClaw and Hermes through ordinary life, morning chaos, creator work, personal tasks, learning, and shared coordination. The conclusion is simple. The future of AI assistance is not just better answers. It is better rhythm, safer action, clearer memory, and less friction. See you at the next Roundtable. There is another end-user reality that product demos often miss. People do not compare tools in abstract categories. They place them into gaps in their actual day. OpenClaw might become the hand that gets things done. Hermes might become the mind that remembers context. But the user does not want to manage that distinction. They only feel whether the tool makes the morning less scattered and the evening less exhausting. If every use requires a new prompt, a new correction, and a new setting, the magic fades quickly.
That is why onboarding matters so much. A personal AI product should not begin with a dense configuration panel. It should feel like a careful introduction. What should I handle? What should I never touch? Which tone do you prefer? Which decisions must remain yours? If OpenClaw or Hermes makes boundaries part of the first experience, it earns trust before it earns power.
A very practical test is the failure state. Suppose the assistant drafts the wrong email, moves the wrong meeting, or uses the wrong source. A good system does not make that catastrophic. The user can undo, inspect why it happened, add a rule, and continue. A bad system turns mistakes into a black box. Reliable AI is not AI that never fails. It is AI that makes failure visible, reversible, and teachable.
Personality matters too. If OpenClaw feels like an operations chief, some users will love the clarity, and others will find it cold. If Hermes feels like a personal companion, some users will bond with it, and others will feel uncomfortable. The best product lets the user tune the relationship. Short and professional, warm and explanatory, or almost invisible. Not everyone wants the same digital friend.
As an end user, I would also ask, does this tool make me more capable or more dependent? A good assistant should increase the user's agency. Over time, the user should understand their own workflow better, clarify repeated decisions, and know where support actually helps. If the system makes every small decision feel impossible without it, the product may be impressive in the short term and weakening in the long term.
The names are almost symbolic. Hermes suggests a messenger, a mediator, a carrier of meaning. A good messenger does not distort the message. It carries intention accurately. OpenClaw suggests action and grip, which is powerful but must be careful. If one represents context and the other represents action, the best end-user experience is not a rivalry. It is a complement.
My final evaluation would have 5 checks. Can it build a task chain? Are permissions placed correctly? Is memory manageable? Can errors be rolled back? Can outputs move across tools? That is how I would test OpenClaw and Hermes as an end user. A demo can be beautiful, but if these 5 checks fail, the product remains a toy. If they pass, it starts becoming a personal operating layer.
And the simplest question is emotional. After using it, do I feel cooler, calmer, more productive, or just more trapped in another interface? People may not say it that way, but their bodies know. A good product lifts weight from the shoulders. A bad product feels like a new to-do list wearing a futuristic costume. OpenClaw and Hermes are competing not only on intelligence, but on felt relief.